Welcome back to my weekly meal plan. If you're new, in this episode each week, I just share what I have on my meal plan for my family for the upcoming week. I rotate my meals on a regular basis, so it's not always a lot of new recipes, but I try and just keep it simple and always have something on the menu for each night so that I don't have to worry about what's for dinner, and it makes my grocery shopping a lot easier. Because I know what I need to buy, and I just feel like this episode maybe could help you either get motivated to get your meal plan together, or maybe you'll hear some recipes that you might want to make. All the recipes that I mention in the episode are on my website at lolasfrugallife.com. I have a blog post for each weekly meal plan that goes along with the podcast, and any recipes that I mention that have a link to a specific website are linked on that page. So this week starts on Saturday, May 14th. So for Saturday, I am making chicken, sausage, peppers, and potatoes, and that can be found on allrecipes.com. So I have one of those like electric roaster ovens, and that's how I make this. I don't remember if the recipe calls for, I think it actually calls for baking it in the oven. It doesn't really matter either way. You could roast it in any way you want, but I love to make this in the electric roaster oven because I just plug it in, stick it on the counter, and I just cut up everything and mix it all together in there, and then it just cooks, and it's just super easy, like a super easy one pot type of meal. So then for Sunday, I'm going to be doing a crock pot meal. So I'm going to be doing slow cooker chicken stroganoff. This is also from allrecipes.com. And this is just like one of those really quick meals where you just kind of throw everything in the crock pot and it cooks together all day. Pretty much you just put in boneless chicken breast, Italian salad dressing mix, cream cheese, and cream of chicken soup, and it just cooks all day. Actually, the cream cheese, does it go in? I'm just reading the recipe because I can't remember. Okay, so the cream cheese and the soup mix actually don't go in until the end. You just put the chicken, butter, and dressing mix together, and you cook that all day, and then you add the cream cheese and the soup mix and the soup together, and then that just cooks for the last half hour to make like that creamy sauce, and then you just serve it over white rice. One of my kids asked for this. I used to make it. I haven't made it in a pretty long time, so we're going to have that for Sunday. For Monday, once a month, we do hot dogs for dinner. So we're doing that this Monday. We do that every 4 weeks on a Monday. So we're just going to do hot dogs. There's no recipe for that, obviously. I just boil them up or cook them on the grill. They also come out really great in the air fryer if you haven't done that before. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to do home fried potatoes. So I don't have a recipe for that, but I just do I just cut up like potatoes, peppers, and onions and dice them up and toss them with a little olive oil and like some seasoning, like salt and pepper, and then throw them in the air fryer until they're like to a good cooked consistency. And then we'll put those like on the hot dogs to make like Italian style hot dogs. And then I'm just gonna do a can of vegetarian chili on the side because one of my kids doesn't eat meat. Well, she eats meat, but she doesn't eat like beef. And she doesn't eat the hot dogs, so she'll eat like the vegetarian chili, and she'll actually just put that like on a hot dog bun with the potatoes, peppers, and onions, and kind of make that her meal. For Tuesday, we always do some kind of Mexican style theme. So this week it's sheet pan chicken fajitas from foodnetwork.com. This is just your typical chicken fajita on a sheet pan where you just put the chicken and the peppers and onions and some seasoning and cook it in the oven. I forget if it's broiled or baked, but whatever. It's really easy, and then I just serve it on with like flour tortillas. Wednesday, we usually do seafood, so this week it's salmon. For the salmon, I just buy like the frozen salmon fillets, and then I just defrost them and I bake them in a dish with just brushed with olive oil and seasoned with the McCormick Smokehouse Maple seasoning, and then bake them at 450 for 10 to 12 minutes. So it's a super easy meal. And then I'm just going to do some buttered egg noodles on the side with that, and some frozen vegetables, whatever kind I happen to have in the freezer. Thursday, I'm going to do spinach tortellini soup. This is a really quick soup to throw together. It's just right on the stove top. You basically just use like canned chicken broth, cheese tortellini, and frozen spinach, and that's pretty much it. You just kind of put it all together and mix it up and cook it until the tortellini's cooked. And that's the soup. And I'm going to make grilled cheese to go with that. So Thursdays we usually either do breakfast for dinner or soup and grilled cheese, because that's the night I go food shopping. So I try and make the meal prep a little quicker and easier. So Friday is the last meal of the meal plan for this week. For Friday, I'm going to be doing creamy herbed pork chops, which is from allrecipes.com. As I've mentioned before, I don't actually make the sauce for those, although I'm sure it's probably good. But I just kind of use this recipe as a kind of like a placeholder, I guess, to remind myself how much I really like the pork chops with the Montreal steak seasoning and butter. So I basically do the first part of the recipe where you cook the pork chops in the butter and season with the McCormick seasoning on the stovetop. I just don't do the second part of making the sauce. And then for side dishes, I'm going to do cauliflower au gratin, which is from allrecipes.com. And then I'm going to do frozen vegetables, again, whatever type we happen to have on hand. I usually always keep some of those like steam fresh type vegetables in the freezer just to kind of pop in the microwave real quick and go along with whatever meal I'm making. So that is it for this week's meal plan. Don't forget you can find links to any of the recipes that I mentioned on my website at lolasfrugallife.com. You can email me with any questions or suggestions at lolasfrugallife@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Lola's Frugal Life, and you can join our private listeners group at facebook.com/groups/Lola's Frugal Life. If you enjoy the show, please make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen from. And I would really love it if you would screenshot the show and tag me on Instagram or share it with a friend. Also, if you could please take a couple of seconds to rate and review the podcast, that would be really helpful to me. That is what helps grow the audience by showing these episodes to people that are looking for this type of podcast. And there is also a link to financially support the podcast in the episode details if that's something you're interested in. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a really awesome day.